Trump is getting himself in trouble in the gaggles right now because there are actually reporters for the first time asking him about this.
Hello, everyone. This is JVL here with my best friends, Sarah Longwell and Tim Miller of the Bulwark. And like Noel and Liam Gallagher, we are back together again. It's an amazing, exciting reunion.
Hey, mates.
Tim, welcome home.
Sarah
buddy.
looks as rested. Sarah looks really fresh.
You're going to carry this over into the show.
Fresh. I was like, Sarah looks fresh.
Because she's just been chilling.
Good to see her again. It's good to see her again.
I don't even understand what this accusation is. You were on vacation.
I'm just saying you look rested.
You were on vacation, okay?
Was I?
Yeah, you were on vacation.
You didn't check in with me. I didn't hear from you. It's just been a while since I've seen you.
I left you alone because you were on vacation.
Thank you. That was nice. That's good.
I don't understand
I've re-entered, though. I'm here now.
And, okay, did you need me to... What do you need from me?
I don't know. Check in. How's it going? How was vacation? What's up? It's coming.
That's what the shows are for us to catch
great.
up.
How you been?
Fine. I've been great.
Fine. Good.
I'm crushing it over here.
That's nice.
All right.
How was your vacation? People
was
were
fucking
not,
awesome.
I'm sorry.
People were not happy you were gone.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to be wanted. It's nice to be needed. Feels good.
We're glad you're back.
Doesn't it? It's like when you come home and when your kid comes and gives you a big hug for the first time in a while. You're like, this is nice. It's nice to be wanted. I was getting some virtual hugs from people. That's nice. Not from Sarah, but from others. So anyway, JVL, don't we have a show to get to?
Jeffrey Epstein is happening. It's happening right now. It is real and it is spectacular. And a few moments before we stepped on to tape this show on Wednesday morning, your favorite president, many people are saying the greatest president, the strongest president of all of our lifetimes, Donald J. Trump, went on to Truth Social and debuted a new line of attack. He is now calling it the Jeffrey Epstein hoax with a capital H. And he says now that, hold on, let me get right to the thing of it. Unlike Republicans, Democrats that's in brackets. Democrats stick together like glue. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters,
past is in all caps,
have bought into this quote bullshit hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will. And he goes on to say that these weaklings, here he's speaking about his former past supporters, continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. So that's, I guess we're going to up the loyalty tests.
I'd just like to take this moment before we get into Donald Trump to issue a warm welcome to the listeners of Bannon's War Room, of the Charlie Kirk podcast, of the Candace Owens show, Tucker Carlson show. If you have been, listening to those like really compelling content creators over the past few years and thought that Donald Trump had your back and have now been disappointed by him and now see that he actually only cares about himself. I just want to let you just say, I'm rolling out the red carpet for you. The water is warm. You can sign up for the Bulwark Plus. It's only $10 a month. You get bonus content here, and we welcome you. We're going to have live events, and I can't wait to commingle some of the, former Trump supporters who bought into this quote bullshit, who now have been exiled, and we can commingle you with our kind of, Lily from the Upper East Side and the Whole Foods shoppers that come to the Bulwark. And so you're welcome here.
We're all never Trump now.
Yeah.
Okay. We're all never. He doesn't want you. He doesn't love you anymore.
He doesn't.
It's going to work. You guys are having your fun, but this is going to work.
Okay. So this is obviously the conversation we need to have. I'm prepared for this. I'm prepared for JVL to say, This doesn't matter. Everybody's going to go back to Trump. And I would like to wrestle with this because I obviously don't think that. I really don't. But it is going to test something. So there's layers to this. Okay. So Trump has been calling the MAGA influencers, called Charlie Kirk to back him off, called Megyn Kelly to back her off. And you can see it. He called, who else has he called that we can tell? Benny Johnson,
Kash
I think
Patel.
he called. Well,
did he get to
Kash,
Benny?
But I mean, well, Benny, I assume they reached out to him. I mean, I think they're going to everybody, but here's the thing. And this is, you guys remember back in the National Review's Never Trump magazine days. Do you remember this?
What's the name of the outlet you're talking about?
National Review Online.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. They used to matter. But,
I don't know that one.
Here's what happened to them. They had opinions, and they thought that people came and read them to get their interesting takes. But they learned a lesson then in those early years of Trump that actually what people wanted from National Review was for them to back their dog Trump, back their guy. And if they weren't going to do it, they were going to go elsewhere. And in fact, many of them did, leaving National Review to try to kind of split the baby, right, with their anti thing, to try to hold on to some audience. Tough to do. Here's what Charlie Kirk is about to figure out. Was the audience there for Charlie Kirk? Are they loyal to Charlie Kirk? Are they loyal to Trump? Or did they want to be pumped full of these conspiracy theories that they were being fed? And if they don't get them, they're going somewhere else. And that is going to put Charlie Kirk as this middle layer, as like the new mediating voice between Trump and the voters. Are people going to tolerate it, or is the base going to set the tone? Trump has always been seen as controlling the base, right? His power emanates from the base. If the base turns on him, because I think we're going to see a split. I think we're going to see a split from the influencers. And I think the audience is going to continue to demand Epstein. I think they're going to be mad at Trump, and I think they're going to be looking for influencers that agree with them. And so I think some of them are going to go live with the audience, Tim Pool, whatever. I think others are going to atrophy in their mediator role as people who are just like, we're just trusting Pam Bondi. We're just trusting Kash Patel. We're just trusting Donald Trump. Donald Trump got ratioed for that. So I don't think this is going to
JVL, before we get to you, I want to maybe offer because Sarah kept using that word trust. And maybe a less like, oh, this will matter politically, like they're going to abandon Trump point of view. And maybe there's something short of that this might be a real inflection point for in a way that matters politically. And that is that, like, their trust in Trump is shaken in a way that has downstream effects that it's hard to predict on how much he can control them. And so, I always go back to this conversation I was having with Jeff Rowe, is the Republican strategist guy, when I was writing, I forget if it was for the book or for an article I was writing 7 years ago. And I was asking him, I was like, what is the difference between the Trump and Bush? Like, why has Trump been able to be so resilient where Bush wasn't with Republican based voters? And Rowe would point out, he's like, you just look at the numbers. Like, when Bush got less popular, he got less popular across the board. You know, like, if people are upset with Iraq, Republicans were, independents were, Democrats were. Like, Democrats were more mad than Republicans, but, like, you know, the numbers kind of all moved together. He's like, that never happened with Trump. That was where I originally got the Saddam Hussein numbers. He's like, if you look at Trump, he's like, Trump has Saddam Hussein numbers in rural areas and among his base. And so if his numbers go down a little bit with the suburban Republicans, okay, but, like, it's not happening across the board. And part of that was based on this trust. Like, people were like, I don't trust regular politicians. I trust him. Like, I specifically trust him. And if that gets cracked, then maybe that opens the door to him, to his, number, like him being treated more like a normal politician. Like, his numbers being more responsive to what a normal politician's numbers are. Because people are like, wait a minute. I don't know if this is recoverable for him. I don't believe you anymore. Like, you told me that you were going to get these bad guys, these pedophiles, and now you're telling me that I'm the bad one, that I'm wrong because I cared about this. I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen, but like this, I'm trying to think of something else that is analogous to this, where he's like let down his own people that much, and it's hard to think of one. And for it to happen right around the same time as the Iran bombings and giving weapons to Ukraine, I don't know. I guess I'm just saying I'm going to be re-engaging with Bannon's War Room, and I'm going to be keeping an open ear on what is happening, because I think it's possible, I'm not predicting it, that there's been a breach of trust that might not sound like people are, I'm off Trump, I'm for whatever, Pete Buttigieg now. But it's like, well, I no longer am going to just ride or die. And that would weaken him at some level, no?
May I offer a counter thesis?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I think there are a couple of category errors being made here. The first is that
I never make a category error.
That people
I might be wrong, but I always get my categories correct.
Okay. The first
category is wrong.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The first is that people care about the Epstein case qua Epstein case. And I don't think that's true. I don't think they ever cared about any of these things except as they were weapons to be deployed against the people they hate. What they care about is the people they hate. And the people they hate are like Democrats and black people and whatnot. And like pedophilia and accusations of Lolita Express and the Jeffrey Epstein Island, those things were only things they cared about as means to hurt the people they didn't like. Secondly, why would this be different than the insurrection, right? I mean, Trump lost some support following the insurrection. Like he chopped like 20 points approval even among self-identified Republicans briefly. And then it came back because, he did some crimes.
Just really quick, here's why that's different. Because people that were mad at him over the insurrection were the National Review, Wall Street Journal types, not the base.
That's right.
That's what's different about it. Maybe it will end up not being different, but I'm just saying, you asked what was different. That's what's different.
Okay, well, I mean, again, let's say he does lose some trust or lose something. All he has to do then is go out and like say the N-word, and then watch the rest of the world go, holy crap, the president of the United States is like, calling black people the N-word. And all of these people rush back to, oh, you and your woke stuff trying to cancel. Blah, 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 blah.
Okay,
They'll all be back on side.
Maybe.
They'll all be back on side.
Listen, I concede that Trump could wriggle out of this. Now, here's the thing though. I don't think he wriggles out of this without putting together something that looks like new information. And let me tell you why I think categorically, like as a category matter and on this issue of trust, what Tim and I are saying is right. Or more importantly, actually why you thinking that nobody really cares about this is wrong.
I think this is like the wall. It's just like the wall.
See, I don't. And here's why.
The wall was never built. They didn't care about the wall. They just wanted to hate the people they wanted to hate.
No, the wall was a stand-in for taking immigration seriously, which they believe Trump
Epstein.
does.
It's a stand-in for hating Democrats.
No, it's a stand-in actually for something that is deeply central to Trump's mythology.
Okay.
Which is there is a uniparty, an establishment, a global cabal of people who will not tell you the truth about things. Listen, if there's one thing, I am hitting pay dirt on 8 years of listening to Trump voters.
Okay.
Which is I have listened to them over and over express this sense that Donald Trump is not a normal politician. He is their guy on the inside, right? The reason that they don't hold him to normal moral standards that they hold other politicians to is that they're like, yeah, he's super flawed, but he's going to show us all the things that all these politicians for all these years have been keeping from us. And you can, is it QAnon? Is it 9/11 was an inside job? Is it the Jewish space? Like whatever. Is it were there 5 shooters on the grassy knoll? Are there aliens at Area 51? It doesn't matter what your conspiracy is. But if you believe, and I'm sorry, but you can remember this from our old days as Republicans. Distrust in the government has always been an essential place. Now, it did not manifest like this.
Developing the COVID vaccine.
What?
They forgave him for developing the COVID vaccine.
I'm sorry. I do not think that is the same.
Okay.
I think that this is too much about the reason that they said, I know Trump lies, but I think he's telling the truth, is what they meant is he was going to take a wrecking ball to the establishment, take a wrecking ball to all the people who've been hiding stuff from them, the regular people. And he was going to populate his whole cabinet with a bunch of people, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, people who've always been saying to them, they're lying to you. They're lying to you. Listen to Tucker. Listen to the right-wing guys. This is thematic through everything. They're lying to you. I tell you the truth. This is why this trust matter, the breach on Epstein, you got to understand that the way Trump got around being photographed with Epstein, on video with Epstein, having quotes about Epstein, was that he went on offense on this issue. He said, no, we're going to show you, come hell or high water, what's in there. For him to not do it now is a deep breach of trust and is for a part of the party a denial of the essential reason why they trusted Trump and wanted him in there in the first place. Because now, if he's just a regular politician covering things up, what was the point of him? And there will be people who will carry that forward.
Yeah,
I want to believe
the COVID thing is a better analogy than January 6th, right? Because that really is like Trump being on the wrong side of his actual.
Yeah.
And like that, when else have you heard Trump get booed at his own, right?
Yeah.
Like the closest thing to the TPUSA
But he also moved
thing,
on that.
He did.
He kind of scooted away from his vaccine stuff.
He did, of course, and he ended up hiring RFK Jr. to run the HHS. So right. So you have to do something. He can maneuver. Nobody's saying he can't maneuver. He can fucking maneuver. I just think that, like, man, saying I don't want your support anymore, like directly, it is the kind of thing that people mention over and over again. Is all. It is the kind of thing that stick in certain people's head. I don't know. Here's the other thing that I think is worth noting about all this. Is that in the context of all these other conspiracies that are like actual conspiracies, not like the Jeffrey Epstein thing, which I think is maybe real and maybe he was murdered in jail. I don't know. The other ones, the Hunter laptop, the Russia hoax, like the Biden crime family, Comey. Doesn't this kind of just open this can of worms to, if I'm just Grace Bannon listener, Joe Bannon listener, and I'm like, I got Kash Patel in there. I got my fucking guy in there. I've watched 50 video segments with him. He's running the FBI. Trump is in charge. I can't blame the deep state on this. They haven't arrested anybody. They haven't got one collar, not one indictment. I don't know. Again, I just think that stuff over time, don't people start to be like, what is this? What are we doing? Like there are a group of people that wanted that. If this is to your point, JVL, they wanted the liberals to be punished. No liberals are getting punished. Who's being owned right now?
Look at how upset they are about the masked ICE agents and all the brown people being sent to El Salvador.
Yeah, well,
the liberals are being super punished. No, but I'm saying is the people you're talking about see the rest. I don't want to say the left, but isn't the left. Like they look at the rest of the mainstream world screaming about due process and stuff, and they're getting the cruelty they wanted. They just aren't getting maybe all of it. Look, I want to believe you guys. I think you're ascribing too much like logical rigor to
this is a logical
processes, rigor, which are more like a barbaric yelp, right?
And he's denying them their barbaric yelp.
Yeah, he's not giving them their yelp.
That's the difference about this one. It's not. And here's the thing, it's funny because obviously. I get a little frustrated with JVL when he talks about voters being idiots and whatever, but nobody thinks that Trump voters are bigger idiots than Donald Trump himself.
Oh, yeah.
Donald Trump thinks these people are such morons that they can't put it together that Epstein killed himself while Donald Trump was president and that James Comey you can see it. You can see people kind of saying, yeah, why didn't Democrats release this if it had damaging things about Trump while they were in there? But also they're like, but I don't think Comey and Obama wrote this. Like I don't know that that's making sense from it. Imagine how deep you are in this conspiracy for Trump than to throw out a timeline that makes literally no sense. And for people to be like, oh yeah, no, I think Comey did it. Nobody thinks that. I want
to throw one more pitch at you, JVL. I want to try to get you over to the happy side, okay? Because maybe we've been focusing too much on the War Room listeners and the Candace Owens listeners, maybe Charlie Kirk. Maybe these people are all coming back, like they've all come back before. But we all agree that there was a crank realignment between 2019 and 2024 that brought new people into the Trump coalition, new people that were not 2016 red hat people. New people came in. It offset the, our people, the college educated suburbanites that went out, right? Like that's like essentially how he won. Those guys aren't full like they're like, what? The Joe Rogan people, they like, this is their lifeblood. The Andrew Schultz the Flagrant podcast listeners, like this is the straw that stirs the drink for those guys. And like they don't have as long of a track record, as you point out, of just coming back around as everybody else. And there's a chance that those guys just start to be like, all right, you can already hear it. Trump is just like one of them. I thought it was, again, it's not them becoming Democrats. It's like, I thought he was different. I thought that I knew he's a politician. He was lying to me a little bit, but I thought that he was really going to go uncover all this stuff. And it turns out he's just no different than Hillary and Bush and they all, whatever. Like you can hear fucking Joe Rogan saying that.
And by the way, I actually don't like what he's doing on immigration. Like that is a sort of a different group of people where they are like, why are these iced people masked? Because these are kind of like libertarianish bros. Right. Like these guys are pro-choice. They don't care about gay marriage, but they do want to be able to say like they, we got
to bleep that. We're going to get demonetized. It's the one word, YouTube. and even in Trump's America, woke YouTube will not let members of the LGBTQIA plus community say the F slur on our own platform. Outrageous. Okay.
It is outrageous because you know what? This is our people. We're allowed to say it. We're allowed to say it. Yeah,
that's why I had to vote for Trump, guys. Sorry.
I know. Wait, now I've lost my train of thought. Other than these people are a different kind of set. So I did a focus group, Tim. I don't know what you were doing on vacation. If you
listening to the focus group,
did you listen to this? Did you listen to this?
No, I listened to nothing. I didn't consume a single second of your content.
Can I take a victory lap? Can I take a victory lap on something?
Yeah, of course. I don't know.
So I was on with Sam and JVL, and I was losing my mind about what a big story I thought this was going to be. I was saying, I'm telling you, and I was like, everybody needs to push into this. This is categorically different from the other things. And Democrats need to pick this up and start pushing it. It took them almost all week for them to realize, yes, this is not a distraction. They should go push on this, not because it is. And I was, at the time, I was sort of like, I think Democrats don't want to touch this because they think it's gutter. They think it's tawdry, right? They think it's like, oh, this is more of Trump's gross stuff. And I'm like, no. The Attorney General of the United States, the highest officer of our laws, promised that this was in there while she was AG, not while she was out making podcasts, while she was AG. They all told us explosive stuff was coming. They told all their people explosive stuff was coming. Donald Trump's number one donor and advisor said he's in the Epstein files. Like, that was a big thing. Like, he dropped that bomb in the middle of things, okay? And he's also out there, by the way, War Room listeners, saying Bannon's in the Epstein files, which maybe, I don't know. My point being, there's a lot happening. I don't think it's
working down there anymore.
There's a lot happening in this fever swamp, and the fever swamp is big. QAnon was big, and like they're all kind of overlapping. Yeah. And so
let's just de-align the cranks. That's all we're asking for. Just a de-alignment of the cranks.
These are people who wouldn't otherwise vote. These are low info voters in the sense that they do not follow a lot of policy, but they go deep on things like these conspiracies. They otherwise wouldn't vote because they think they're all lying to them. Donald Trump was different for this reason.
The future Mark Cuban voters.
He brought people out, or they don't vote.
Yeah, great. Don't vote. Yeah. Great. That's great. No need for you to vote.
All right. Before
why can't you just be happy? What's wrong with you?
you've met me. Right.
I know. This should bring you joy.
Before it does. It does. I'm all in. Look, enjoy the ride. Gather ye rosebuds. I'm just saying, let's not go crazy here and think that this is going to matter. We should absolutely enjoy it. We should push into it. All of those things.
I'm gonna throw down my marker here. We are still going to be talking about this on next week's show. You know why? Because Ghislaine Maxwell is saying that she wants to testify before Congress.
What about next summer's show?
Hold that.
What about next summer's show? Will we
Hold
mention
that thought.
Jeffrey Epstein next June?
I want to talk about Ghislaine. I have no idea how to pronounce her. Ghislaine. But first, we have to hear from you, Sarah, to talk about our sponsor, Quince.
So this show is sponsored by Quince. With summer in full swing, I feel that familiar urge to refresh my closet. I can't wear polos with pop collars every single day, but I'm trying not to waste money on pieces I'll only wear once or for just one season. That's where Quince comes in. Their clothes are timeless, feel luxurious, look elevated, and the quality is way beyond what you'd expect for the price. It's the kind of wardrobe upgrade that just clicks. Think 100% European linen tops starting at $30, washable silk dresses and skirts, and soft cotton sweaters. Versatile warm weather pieces you'll reach for again and again. The best part? Everything with Quince is half off of similar brands. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middleman, Quince gives you luxury without the markup. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. Love that. Keep it ethical, guys. I got my favorite leather jacket from Quince. It's brown. I wear it in the fall and all winter. I also have a lot of the things like the little camis that I wear under my blazers come from Quince. Their stuff is great for all seasons, especially their breathable summer linens. I'm super into linen this summer. It's so hot outside. All I want is clothes that do not stick to my body. Give your summer closet an upgrade with Quince. Go to quince.com/the-next-level. All one word for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That is QUINCE.com/the-next-level to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/the-next-level.
All right. So is this move to bring Ghislaine Maxwell before Congress, is that a way to tie off the story? Like, you bring her in, she tells some version of a story, which they can then sell as, see, we got to the bottom of all of it. You heard from her. Now I hear there's a caravan coming up from South America. Let's go pay attention to that.
I think it's the theory, but I don't look. That's just not how these things work. It's the Trump strategy is better than that, if that's their strategy, because it's just. I think Sam and I were talking about this. Like, the craziest thing that for people, I don't think that has really sunk in for people, is that the insane Benghazi oversight hearings, there are like 40 of those, like, led to figuring out that Hillary Clinton had another email because she was emailing something about Benghazi, which led to figuring out that she had a server, which led to figuring out that, Huma was emailing with Wiener, who had a computer, right? Like, which led to the Comey letter years later, right? Like, Ghislaine Maxwell testifying, it only would add like 9 new threads to the story about different possible, donors and involvements in this and whatever. I mean, I don't think that helps.
Wouldn't she just tell whatever story they tell her to tell? Because
why?
They could say to her, boy, it would be a shame if you wound up committing suicide in your cell.
Well, because she wants a pardon from Trump again. But then all of that is a story, okay, sure. I don't know. There's no clean way out of this, I don't think.
And hold on, Tim asked a good question, because I said we're going to definitely still be talking about this next week. And Tim asked a question, will we be talking about it next summer? Here's how we would end up talking about it next summer, which is that Democrats are saying, give us the House and we'll hold hearings to find out what's happened with the Epstein files. I am telling you, guys, here's the thing. I am sorry that politics is like this. Do I wish that we were having a very precise debate about cuts to Medicaid, about what we're going to do about the debt, about Ukraine? Yes, I do. All those things. There is a reason that gay marriage and abortion and things like this end up at the center, and trans issues and sports. They are very accessible pieces of information for every voter to grab onto. These things hit differently. And Donald Trump has always understood how to make politics accessible to people who don't care about the depths of policy. They care about the personal impacts of policy, but they don't care about talking about it that much. This is the kind of thing that lands, grabs people's attention. And if Democrats, listen, I am not for 1 second saying that Democrats shouldn't do kitchen table issues. They should. They need to talk about lowering prices, which people really care about too. They got to talk about lowering prices. This matters.
Cutlery.
They got to cutlery.
Yeah. Kitchen table issues.
Kitchen table issues. Great. Talk about, but
It's the most bougie political analogy
actually,
ever.
Let's take Tim's thing. They should talk about the knives. They should talk about the forks. They should talk about the plates. But the meal is going to be Epstein. That's what people are going to want to eat. And
Sounds a lot like
Ew.
voters are stupid, Sarah.
I'm saying human beings are attracted to stories that include scandal, politicians getting to the bottom of it. I am telling you, this is the kind of thing, and there's a reason. Like, we haven't even made this very, very key point. We all know that I wasn't paying a ton of attention to the Epstein stuff because I just...
And I'm excited for you. You're just like a kid who's like learning a new piece of information. Like Mars, there's a red planet. You know,
You're like
you
a
just
kid
have the
whose
joy
parents
of a
never
child.
allowed her to have sugar, and suddenly someone gave you a box of pixie sticks.
I wasn't allowed to
and now
see
you're-
rated R movies as a kid. And then when I watched all of them, and I was like, oh, this is good. I wasn't allowed to watch these. These are scary. But anyway, the reason that I am dug in on this now is that I personally did not think that there was probably a huge there. I've never thought that there's no pedophile ring under the pizza shop. There's no QAnon, whatever. That whole thing blew up. This is different because it has Trump at the center of it. It has like his whole reason d'etre for why a whole bunch of people voted for him is because he was going to blow the lid off of the deep state. When did we learn about the deep state trying to control Trump? Okay. And also his whole cabinet. It's not just Trump. They all ran on it. Why is Kash Patel the FBI director? It's because of this. It's because he said he was going to expose all this stuff and put it out there. That's why Dan Bongino is in there. Donald Trump, I think, which brings me to my last point. Donald Trump suddenly seems guilty. How he is behaving is so weird. It is genuinely weird. This thing that the last couple bleats he put out are both extremely long in a thou doth protest too much kind of way. And also the if you guys keep talking about this, I am done with you type thing. And now you got Tucker. You got a whole group of people taking the anti-Semitic angle. Epstein is a Mossad agent. So I'm just
Ghislaine
telling
Maxwell's
you, man.
dad was Mossad. Have you? This is where I'm at. I'm Googling Robert Maxwell. That's how deep I am on things. He was Mossad, and also he bought the company that has all of our textbooks. Are you ready for conspiracy theories now? Yeah, Robert Maxwell bought Macmillan, which owns McGraw Hill.
The textbooks. Yeah.
Also,
Indoctrination of our children.
Yeah.
Well, I have good news for you,
Great.
Tim, which
Me
is that on
personally?
Thursday, Tucker is sitting down for an interview with, I'm going to read from Tucker's tweet, the true history of the Jeffrey Epstein case from America's most honest historian,
No, not Martyr Maid.
Daryl
No.
Cooper.
No.
Live Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
I don't know who that is.
He was the guy that did the that was
Winston Churchill was the real
bad
Oh,
guy.
yeah, sure.
So he's the Nazi lover.
Yeah.
So, we're going
that's
to get the
too
Nazi
bad.
perspective. That's great.
That's too bad because Tucker's been making some points. Did you want? You're Sarah. You're going to blanch at this, but I think that every Democratic politician should watch Tucker's TPUSA speech
And do a reaction video.
No. and steal some of his talk and steal some of his shit.
Oh,
Like Tucker's like Tucker. Right. The speech is like 30% wink, wink, racist, anti-immigrant stuff, and like 10% I'm just asking questions. Maybe 20% I'm just asking questions, but it's like 50% like. I don't know, y'all. He just is very casual about it. He's like, I'm just a guy that wants the city's streets to be clean and my kids to be able to buy a house. And these guys, and what is Trump doing instead? He's protecting the billionaire pedophiles. Like he's like, we're doing, we got all the billionaires in the cabinet and Goldman Sachs, and he's like, I don't think it's unreasonable for a middle, somebody working hard, middle class, to be able to own a house by the time they're 27. I'm not a socialist. I'm if people want to make money, that's great, but I think that's
by 27. Who can do that?
Exactly.
That's his point.
That's his point. And
I was also, guys, Tucker's going to run for president. Tucker's going to run for president, and he's going to be formidable.
Yeah, of course he is.
I've been saying that for years.
Yeah. Anyway, that's an aside.
All right.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Can we not talk about this for the whole hour and then maybe make it 90 minutes?
36 minutes of Epstein wasn't enough for you?
No, I got a couple other things.
Do a good 36 minutes on another conspiracy theory, but if you'd like to continue on this one, that's fine.
Only one very small point, which is that I have seen now Hakeem Jeffries and some Democrats are starting to come out and push this. I've seen a couple of media. Trump is getting himself in trouble in the gaggles right now because there are actually reporters for the first time asking him about this. And I just would like people to freaking approach this issue with the same zeal and commitment that they approached Joe Biden's age. That's all I'm asking from our mainstream media sources.
Good luck.
Can you please? And here's the thing. It was not illegitimate for you to pursue a story about Joe Biden's mental acuity. And it is not illegitimate for you to pursue this Jeffrey Epstein story. Thank God Wired is out there doing reporting on the spliced together tape, which apparently has 3 minutes missing. I don't know. That feels like a thing. Donald Trump was president then. He got his sweetheart deal from a member of Trump's cabinet. Like, guys, there's a lot to follow up on. And if I read another New York Times thing that is just a summary of the reactions from the political right that doesn't include real reporting, real new information pursued by gathering sources and talking to people, like, there are a lot of victims of Jeffrey Epstein. I don't understand why we're not getting more answers than we are. But the president of the United States, sure as shit doesn't want to talk about this. So it feels like the kind of thing you guys should ask a lot about.
I'm excited to get Sarah in the manosphere right now. She's just loving all the Epstein stuff. I have a Hakeem Jeffries note. The words were good. If you read them in paper, words were good. The Sesame Street hip hop, as I like talking style. Is there a way to kind of deprogram somebody for that, or was that we just kind of stuck with that? He does kind of like a sing-songy, rhymey kind of thing, or it's like kind of like a chance. No,
that doesn't sound good.
What doesn't sound good?
What you're describing.
Oh, I'm describing. Yeah,
I did not hear the actual words coming out of his mouth.
It's okay. It was like when he went out there, he's like, A is for Apple, and B is for whatever. You know
what I'd like from Democrats? So here's a thought. Okay, so I'm glad Hakeem came out and said something, and I don't care about the cadence of his voice when he said it exactly. Although I take your point that I would like Hakeem Jeffries, the Speaker of the House, to be just
not the Speaker yet.
I'm sorry. The House majority or the House minority leader.
Future Speaker of the House.
Future Speaker of the House. I would like him and Chuck Schumer and basically everybody who is in leadership to be better at their jobs, be more aggressive. It took him like a full week to get out there and say a thing about this. That being said, I do think Democrats have struggled a little bit about like, what do we do with Jasmine Crockett, right? What do we do with some of our very, media friendly offense type people, but who also put their foot in their mouth, right? Like, it's not great to go out and be like all mediocre white men or whatever that, like she doesn't always, she's not always getting it right. this is a good deployment for Jasmine Crockett.
I agree.
Turn her, let her go. Let her cook on this stuff. And I think leadership can kind of do they were either lying then or they're lying now. Yeah. And we should pursue answers. But let Jasmine Crockett go on TV and be like, I want to know this, and I want to know this, and I want to know this. These are what you do with your attack dogs.
Yeah, I agree. And I've got some questions about the 3 minutes of missing video that I think that we need answers to. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
Next conspiracy theory. This week we had somebody in the pool doing video, and they zoomed in on Donald Trump's right hand, and something going on there on the back of his hand. It looks like fake skin and makeup, and it's like wildly obvious. This is not the first time we saw this sort of stuff going on with his hand in both 2019 and 2020. In January of 2024, he had like red spots all over his right hand. I mean, I'm just asking questions, but just what is happening to this 79-year-old man? Is he undead? Is he about to be dead? Does he have leprosy? Is he undergoing frequent medical treatments already? Is he getting Peter Thiel vampire youth blood? What's boy, Sarah, you do not look happy.
The contouring on the hand is really bad. Also, the makeup contouring on the hand really could use a little bit of work. I mean, they made a statement about this. The White House made a statement about this in February. Said it was bruising from shaking too many hands because he shakes the most hands of any person that's ever shaken hands in history. And
when you shake hands, Tim, does somebody put pressure on this part of your hand?
Outside of my hand? Not usually. I don't do really manly handshakes like Trump and Macron do. Maybe that French hand that Emmanuel Macron gave him really gave him a start and led to some bruising. Yeah, I don't. It is. It feels noteworthy, and it feels like something we should know about. What's happening on the hand?
Sarah, can I convince you why this is important?
You can, or you can try, but I would just say, I think you answered your own question. This isn't, to me, a conspiracy theory. He's a 79-year-old man. Have you been around, so this is Washington, D.C. I'm around a lot of big, late elderly. 70s, early 80s men who were lobbyists, whatever. And they get, Mitch McConnell had this, they get these purple blotches on their skin. And they bruise easily. This is just something happens to old men, I presume old women. And I just think it's Donald Trump's age showing and them trying to cover it up with makeup, which is basically what Donald Trump has been doing with his body the entire time he's been in public eye.
Yes. And so this is why so you can see in pictures that his hair is thinning dramatically. You can also see in pictures that the reliance on makeup is increasing. And I feel like we are approaching the point pretty quickly where, and you see this in tin pot dictators, right? All the time, where they go to great lengths to make the leader look and appear young and vigorous because they don't want anybody to think that they're like a failing old man. We're reaching a point where it's going to be hard to keep that appearance up with Trump. It's going to start to be really hard. It's going to be obvious to everybody that he looks like he's embalmed.
I don't know about that.
No, you don't think so?
This is just Donald Trump has an enormous amount of energy. He is out there acting like a crazy person all the time. Big lunatic energy. This is, and people kind of try to do this. He doesn't look like Biden did at 79. He just doesn't. And to the naked eye. But he is an old man, and he's actually probably holding up remarkably well for somebody that old. But you know what happens with old people? It's they hit a tipping point and then things sort of drop quickly. The thing is, you see Trump all the time. This is just a fact. Part of the reason that Biden got the rap that he did is because people didn't see that much of him. His staff was kind of moving him along, whatever. As long as Trump is out there all the time being a lunatic, he won't get the same treatment that Biden did. But if he starts to show big physical signs and disappear from view, I do think people will ask those questions, but I think if you're thinking that I would take any, this is to me as a distraction. I would take every minute and focus on the Epstein stuff over like, is he covering up like age spots with makeup?
What about the dialysis? Did you see the thing on his leg, which maybe has maybe that he's tying something to his little wiener to help pee? You see that?
I don't know. If look, if there's a medical cover up that happens, like, and he's not disclosing, like, because he does lie about his health. Like the weight that they give for him is preposterous. But I think you're right, JVL, about the way that they prop people up. And I think he will do that for as long as possible. I'm just saying, for as long as if he continues to seem as vigorous, even though it's funny, I was reading that Truth that he put out, like the one that JVL read at the top of the show. If you came down from Mars and were like, the president of the United States wrote this, I mean, it is just insane. It's insane. Yeah. It sounds like a child. The problem is he's just been like that.
If you're like, we're coming back up to the next school year, So if we're coming up, we have a new teacher. Everyone's getting a new teacher. If I hey, I got the news, Toulouse has a new second grade teacher. And I go to follow her on social media or him, and they'd posted something like that recently, I'd be calling the principal and being like, we need a different teacher or we're changing schools. Like a lunatic cannot be in charge of a second grade class. Like anyone that would post this is obviously a non-compos mentis and can't be in charge of this class. So it is a little concerning that person's the president of the United States.
Well, I for one was focusing on purely the visual aspects of all of this, which is that I think the visual aspects of decline are going to become very, very hard to cover up.
He looks worse, and he looks better than Biden. So, had the Democrats put up a different last president, had he been coming off of the Obama heels. But like, because I'll go, what was I on? I was on Katie Tur yesterday, and she was playing clips of him talking about the Obama birth certificate, speaking about Obama from 2011. Mm-hmm. And it is noticeable, like both his physical appearance, his cadence, like the decline from 2000, and that's 12 years ago now, but the decline is noticeable for sure.
Yeah, he's like a Morton Joe from the Mad Max movies, like with all the battle armor on, you're like, oh, he looks pretty, but then you see him without it. Can you imagine here's the thing. If he appeared once in public without makeup, his presidency would be over. No, I think this is just indisputably true, right? If people saw what he really looked like, and you see it every once in a while, if you just go through Getty, right? There are shots, and it is weird to me that like the mainstream media never chooses to use these shots, right? Where you can see the gigantic makeup line, or like the wind has blown his hair over and you can see kind of what's underneath it.
It's not a pretty sight.
He looks half dead. I'm really sorry.
That's because Voldemort lives in his back and is feeding off of the life force.
Okay, our next sponsor is Green Chef. Oh, how I love summer. Something about it just makes you feel your best. It's probably having your children in the house with you all day, every day, which just reminds you why you're alive and why we do it all. What better time to create healthy meal habits that last a whole life? What better time to get Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for clean eating? Green Chef makes it easy to spend less time in the kitchen and more time enjoying summer with your children. And with their new Heat and Eat meals, enjoy a delicious, wholesome meal in just 3 minutes. Bam! That just happened. 3 minutes. Perfect for supporting your wellness journey. Green Chef recipes feature fresh, organic, seasonal produce and 100% responsibly sourced proteins to help you feel your best. Green Chef's real clean ingredients help you build lasting healthy habits without the hassle. Enjoy salads ready in just 5 minutes, protein-filled breakfasts, or nutrient-rich smoothies to fuel your day. Green Chef is ready to nurture your nutritional needs. With 80-plus dietitian-approved weekly meal options, Green Chef makes it easy to find meals that fit your lifestyle. Pick from Mediterranean, gluten-free, plant-based, and protein-heavy, even gut and brain health, and calorie-smart choices too. The recipes change every week, and with week-to-week flexibility, you can adjust your plan to match your mood and your schedule. I love the flexibility that we get from Green Chef. I'm trying to be a little more health conscious lately. Perhaps you guys have noticed. And being able to whip up a healthy smoothie in the morning without much hassle is a huge leg up, as is, and I cannot emphasize this enough, the ability to make very quick meals for my children that they will eat and that don't require much effort from us. Did you guys know that you have to feed them dinner every single day?
Yeah.
Every day.
It is crazy. Isn't
5
it?
o'clock rolls around and you've got to feed them again.
Again. Yeah, I know. It's a burden.
We just did it yesterday. We going to do it again?
Burden.
I just did it this morning and again at night.
Before I get to the rest of the read, Green Chef helps with that. God bless the people at Green Chef. Make this summer your healthiest yet with Green Chef. Head to greenchef.com/50 next level and use code 50 next level to get 50% off your first month, then 20% off for 2 months with free shipping. That's code 50 next level at greenchef.com/50 next level. Sarah, did you see the inflation numbers yesterday?
I did. The consumer price index rose 2.7% from last year. The swiftest pace since February, which is slightly
This is where
higher
I'm
than
going to
they
be
were
the Debbie
expecting.
Downer.
Not with me. This is all Debbie Downer. All Debbie Downer talked in, because you know what?
I read
Nobody's
your
gonna
newsletter.
care.
It seems like you thought that like the inflation situation was not good.
Oh, it isn't good, and I think nobody cares about it.
Oh,
That was you didn't read the newsletter super close. That's okay. You're catching up. You're digging out of your email hole. I get that.
I don't know. I guess my point is I kind of disagreed with the premise. It's not that bad. The inflation number isn't that bad too. Like it ticked up 0.2 or whatever. Under 3% inflation is fine. That's like standard inflation.
Over expectations. So it was more than expectations. This does seem to be the beginning of the inflation pipeline because of the tariffs. But what really got to me was that the market response also seems to, on the inflation news yesterday, predict that the Fed is going to cut rates in September. There is no reason to think the Fed would cut rates in September if you think that inflation is real, except that the markets, and I've seen this again, a bunch of my financial friends are, guys who work in finance are telling me the markets are basically telling Trump that he can fire Jerome Powell. And you guys excited to have Kevin Hassett or Maria Bartiromo as the next Fed chair? Because I think that's coming.
So Trump was pressed about this. There's like new reporting. It's in our Slack. Maybe Tim is looking at it too. And I'll just tell you what it said, which is that Trump floated to a bunch of Republican lawmakers about firing Powell, which led to a bunch of speculation that he was going to fire Powell. And then he was pressed on it just now in some briefing, and he kind of walked it back, but left the door open. I think you're right, JVL, that he's probably testing the market to see if firing Jerome Powell brings with it like a market freak out. And I also think maybe I could see how Jerome Powell's unwillingness to cut rates is annoying Wall Street, and they kind of want to maybe give Trump what he wants because they need the rate cuts because they're pretty freaked out about the tariffs and what that's going to do. So I could see him doing it. That being said, man, Jerome Powell is saving Trump from himself.
Yeah.
You let Trump do whatever he wants. You don't want
rate cuts.
No, you don't. And so if Trump wants to get it and the Wall Street wants it, that's a stove touching moment.
Yeah, I don't want to object to JVL's anonymous finance buddies. Maybe it's true. I've continued to be just a little perplexed by the strength of the stock market in the face of the various headwinds that we have coming. But that's not my area of expertise. The market did take a dive, earlier this week, and hasn't fully recovered back yet.
They think he's going to taco. They're pricing in a taco.
Yeah, maybe.
They think the August 1st thing that he's going to do the same thing he's done before.
Yeah, maybe. And what Sarah was referencing, Now you referenced I was looking at my phone. Every once in a while, we get commenters who are like, "Don't look at your phone." I'm like, "You realize we're on a live podcast. News is happening. You know, it's not like I'm checking my fantasy football scores. Like if I, if I look down, it's because I'm trying to get information to provide." I was looking at it, and so Anna Paulina Luna was the one who broke this story, I guess. Actually, the Congress lady from Florida, and so there's this meeting where there's like a group of them that were unhappy about this crypto bill that's going through, which is just a fucking disaster in its own right. And some Republicans were unhappy about them because they were concerned about a federal digital currency. And so they're meeting, and during that meeting, Trump like asked them, do they, which Trump does, like just polls people, like, do you think I should fire Jerome Powell? And all of the House Republicans were in there, whoever else was in there with Anna Paulina Luna was like, yes. And so he's like, yeah, I think so. And so they're all like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen imminently. Again, this is an area where I like lean on the finance field. If you look at like the stalwart Joe Weisenthal, who I've had on, like a lot of them have been saying for a while, the finance podcast I listen to, that this is like the worst case scenario. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Is it one of those things where it's like, we've also never been here, right? So it's like, maybe it seems like it's worst case scenario, but it's another situation where we have these institutional guardrails. There's the Fed Board of Governors. All of the regional Fed people are basically like, fuck you. You can put Kevin Hassett in here, but we're not going to actually do anything. And then there's a showdown between, one of Trump's flunkies and people that actually know what they're doing. We're kind of in a, situation that we've seen across several other verticals of the administration. Like maybe that all happens, but, it seems bad, and like the whole thing is also premised on nothing. It's premised on a total misunderstanding that Trump's just like, oh, if I put in somebody else, if I put in one of my real estate buddies in charge of the Fed, they can just lower interest rates to 1%. Everybody will be happy because everybody's mad that interest rates are high. But like that's not how fucking long-term interest rates work. Like the Fed chair could lower rates, but like if there's other risk in the marketplace and, the 30-year, people's 30-year mortgage, they're not going to be able to refi immediately just because some flunky at the Fed says so.
And can I push back, JVL, on your contention that people don't care about inflation? Because I think they care a great deal. And so, and I think the question is often not, do they care, but like, how high of a salience is something? Like how motivating is a particular issue? And I'll grant you that in the stupidest timeline we live in, I think that inflation ekes out Epstein only modestly. And it affects, I think, probably a different piece of people who would be supporting Trump on this. But like on Inauguration Day, Trump was on how he handles the cost of living. He was at 41% disapprove and 35% approve. And today he's at 34.7% approve. So he's got the same number of approvals, but the disapprove has jumped from 41% to 59.5%. And so he's locked in with his people. Like you're right on, and you will remain right about this really hardcore. This is why I say you got to get Trump down to 35 or 32%, because those are the people who never walk away. But the disapprove number is going way up. And so I do think that matters. I always think it matters. I think it's the reason Joe Biden lost, just slightly above and or behind his age. And there you go. I think it matters.
My point is just on the inflation right now is it's not perceptible. Like what's perceptible to people is that it hasn't gotten better.
Right.
And so that's not nothing. Right. But like, it's not like there was a period in whenever it was 2023 where it was like, you went to the grocery store one week, your bill is $180. You went the next week, it was $215. You went the next week, it was $230. And people are like, what the fuck? That's not what's happening right now, with a few, except for a few exceptions. No, you made the face like that's wrong, JVL.
It was 2022, and it wasn't as dramatic as you say, but that's okay.
I mean, sure, I was using a little bit of hyperbole, but it was very perceptible to regular people over the course of a short period of time.
Yes, this is the main fight JVL and I had, because I would hear from voters
all the time. You disagree with that? You think that the inflation right now is as perceptible as it was in 2022? Okay.
I don't. What I think, and maybe I'm wrong, is that this is one of those things that people will only care about when it's a Democratic president and won't actually care about with a Republican president because they think Republican economy good. Like that, I mean, it's just like the baked in way that the voters view the two parties is like, well, the Republicans are the ones that are good on the economy. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is just I'm just putting forward this thesis.
Let me read you. I went and grabbed Nate Silver's. He's got a inflation tracker specifically for this, which I keep an eye on. And for Trump's net approval on issues, so this is from today, on immigration, he's minus 3.3. On the economy, he's minus 11.8. On trade, he's minus 15.4. And on inflation, he's minus 24.8. And so that is a big, that's bad. That's people being big mad about inflation.
Yeah. Well taken. I'm probably wrong then.
Our next sponsor is OneSkin. Okay, you all know you need to protect your skin from the sun, but what if you could also protect it from things like collagen loss and inflammation, and even repair some of the damage you did when you were younger or last weekend at Heaton Park? The good news is you can. Something I learned from my scientist friends at OneSkin. I've been using their whole line of mineral SPFs for the face, body, and lips lately. Not only do they protect your skin from UV damage now, they work at the cellular level to help repair the sun damage that I did in my teens and 20s, and they didn't put us in the script, but 30s and early 40s too. My skin feels smoother, looks more even. The face SPF is super lightweight, breathable, and comes in tinted or untinted. The body SPF is water resistant and helps prevent collagen loss. And the new lip SPF hydrates instantly and is scientifically proven to keep your lips healthy, bouncy, and firm. Try them all with 15% off your first purchase using code THENEXTLEVEL at oneskin.co. I was just in Europe spending a lot of time in the sun, and OneSkin's mineral SPFs helped me keep this face from getting damaged when I arrived home in my hole for my podcasting responsibilities. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Imagine how I look without OneSkin. For a limited time, you can try OneSkin with 15% off using code THENEXTLEVEL at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code THENEXTLEVEL. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you.
I had on our map that we were going to talk about gerrymandering in Texas because yesterday during the gaggle, Donald Trump was asked whether or not he was calling for a complete redrawing of the congressional map, and Trump said, no, a simple redrawing so we pick up 5 seats. I mean, is that even worth talking about anymore?
I think so.
Yeah, we should do it behind a paywall. We should make people come listen to our gerrymandering.
Paywall for gerrymandering, Comfort?
That's the really hot stuff.
I don't think anybody's going to be interested in that, but they may be interested in hearing us talk about how Greg Gutfeld wants to learn from the blacks. And
can I just kind of say one thing on the gerrymandering thing? Because, it's naked corruption, and so we should just say that. But in these already heavily gerrymandered states, it's not as easy to gerrymander as you think. And Texas is really playing with fire, and I think, and this is going to be an interesting choice by Gavin Newsom, who's going to want to try to butch up and do some gerrymandering himself to try to balance it out. And by the way, I think he probably should do that. In part of what I'm about to say, because if it ends up being a bad midterm year for Republicans, which I think there's very good reason to believe, trying to re-gerrymander Texas could actually backfire. Right, because there's only so much more you can squeeze out of some of these districts, and if you're and so what you try to do, right, is you take a district that you lost 53 to 46 or something, and then you flip it and you make it like a 55-45 the other way. So where do you take that other 20%? I'm doing bad math here, but we're just going to make this basic for people. Where do you take that from? We take it from some other district. So you go to a district where it was 65 Republican and you make it 55. And then it's ooh, that district's kind of in play now, and so it becomes very challenging, and you might end up accidentally unelecting Dan Crenshaw, God willing, because you're trying to make some of the other districts better. It's just not quite it's easy to gerrymander a non-gerrymandered state, but an already gerrymandered state, things get for the map nerds out there, it gets a little tougher than they think. So, and I think that would be the same issue for Gavin if you were going into a bad year. But since it's going to be a good year for Democrats, Gavin has a little more slack to work with, presuming that actually all comes.
Isn't this what happened in New York State, Tim?
Yeah. They tried to. That's why there are like 3 Republican members from the New York, from like Staten Island and like the kind of New York City area. Lawler, the other Italian guy, the lady, the lesbian lady, the Greek lesbian lady. Anyway, so yeah, no, it can backfire.
Gerrymandering used to be the thing kind of happened behind closed doors. It was like the smoke and mirrors part of power
that everybody else
politics.
then pretended they weren't doing.
And now everybody's just like, this is like, I'm like running on this. Like, this is how I'm going to show you how hard we're going to stack things against you, which is a fundamental shift in our. Now, people have always done this. Like, we shouldn't get too high on our supply about like how corrupted, like literally people have been doing on Illinois. Democrats been gerrymandering this forever. I will say, though, that in the sort of democracy reformish community, there's been a lot of pushback and education around what gerrymandering is and does. And as a result, and this is where California has an independent commission, because the Dem states have been more likely to put in laws that would cuff themselves on redistricting and not use it as a political hardball power play.
Unilateral disarmament.
And they, I think that Republicans, you just can't let that asymmetry persist. Whereas if Republicans are just going to use it as a political tool, you need to be able to do, like, I do like what Newsom's doing. It reminds me of when Nebraska, right before the election, was saying they were going to try to become a winner take all state so that they could take the 1% or the one electoral vote that Don Bacon's district has that's actually a bluer district. They wanted to make the state winner take all. And Maine was like, if you do that, we'll do the same thing, because they had the same issue. And that caused everybody to stand down. And I think Newsom should saber rattle hard and try to just have people not doing this openly for political power.
Nicole Malatokis. Sorry, I forgot you. Nick Laloda, honorable, venerable members of the House Republican Caucus.
Can I mean, maybe this is too boring to bother talking about, but is it, do we really, an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind, Sarah? Mm-hmm. Like, maybe unilateral disarmament is what Democrats should do, right? If you believe in good government and you believe that we shouldn't be stacking decks, then, maybe. No. I don't know what I think.
Actually, I think this is a fair question.
And I don't know how to get like anybody out of the cycle. And like, if Democrats disarm, do they think Republicans would? No, I don't think they would. I don't know what the answer is.
So I got to tell you, I was thinking about this morning, because I looked at the show map and I was thinking about gerrymandering. And this is so long ago now, I feel like I can say it, but I went a long time ago to this meeting on political hardball. And it was a bunch of people sort of theorizing around the idea that the Republicans, with the way that they treated Merrick Garland, whatever, like they were playing a kind of hardball with the rules that Democrats should think about doing themselves. And as you can imagine, your own Sarah Longwell in that meeting made an earnest pitch for not responding in kind to Republicans, that actually you had to persuade people that this was about. Mm-hmm. And I still believe in persuasion a great deal. That being said, and there are a bunch of things I still don't believe in. I'll still be an institutionalist on. I have a great episode that I did with Leah Littman, who's sitting in for George. And, she was talking about her support of court packing. I was explaining why I was against it. And that's like the kind of hardball I'm not for. I do think Democrats should, and this is where I think what Newsom is doing is right, and why I think what Maine was doing was right, is they shouldn't let Republicans think they won't fight back. I think they need to be in a position to say, like, you do it, we'll do it too. Like, we're going to go toe to toe for you, because I think that Republicans have kind of decided that they can steamroll Democrats on everying. Yeah, and yeah. I think that just there has to be some pushback.
I might get some of the exact particulars on this wrong, because I'm not as steeped in the Wisconsin redistricting as it's like really not my beat. But this is probably an example of this. Like, Wisconsin is totally gerrymandered, like both at the state legislative level bad, and this was part of that state Supreme Court race. It was one of the central questions of that. But even at the congressional level, And the Democratic Tony Evers, is dealing with a Republican legislature, right? So they did the thing where it's like they do a court drawn map or whatever. And like they have, they have this court drawn map in Wisconsin, and it ends up being like very, favorable to the Republicans because Wisconsin had the legislature and the Supreme Court. And now Wisconsin won the Supreme Court back. For the whatever quasi Democrats, it's nonpartisan, but the more left judges. And like the question is, okay, should we redo it to make it more fair now? And I forget if it was Evers or the Democratic judges. They're like, yeah, no, we'll just leave it like it is for 10 years, and then we'll reassess the next time. And it's just like, I just don't think that makes any sense. Like, this is all very arcane stuff. It's about drawing lines. This is not about like the Supreme Court. Like, it's like it is political by nature. If the Republicans wanted to meet and say, hey, we're going to create a national, redistricting board that's going to make all of the decisions, and there are going to be certain rules that are based on it, I'd be for that. Like, I think there are a lot of insane things out there. Like, it's crazy. When we were in Nashville, I realized there's no Democratic rep in Nashville. Isn't that insane? Because they've like drawn Nashville like a pizza. So, it's like goes out into like four slices, and all the little slices go into Nashville. Like, I think that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, communities deserve to have representation. So I'm for some good government stuff, but like they got to play. They got to play hardball. The stakes are too high to not, in my view, on this particular issue.
Gavin Newsom really wants to get Butch up. You should talk about splitting California into 3 separate states.
And I'm definitely for that. For sure. JVL, I'm starving. Can we do a separate video on Greg Gutfeld trying to take back the N-word?
Ooh!
Can we do a separate video? We have a good show.
What a tease. Guys, sounds good. We'll do that. Greg Gutfeld trying to reclaim the word Nazi for his people. I think that's fantastic. I can't wait to talk about it with you. Maybe we'll even get Sarah to do it. It'll be like a bonus next level. I don't know. Good show, long show. Great to see you guys. Good luck, America.
Bye.